Welcome, everyone. Welcome to day 2, track 2 of Ability. And we are on your Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit 2020. And just a little bit of housekeeping. We highly encourage you to turn your cell phone off over to the side while we're listening to our speaker. It's really important to do that because we want to be very focused and really learn what we can learn. So just everyone take a deep breath, open your mind, and allow all this amazing information to sink in. And so from that, we're going to introduce our guest, Larissa Banting, and power up your publicity. This is something very juicy because we all think, oh, we're probably pretty shy here, but she's going to help us. You know, how do we incorporate publicity as part of our whole marketing routine? Because I think sometimes we don't push that envelope a little bit. She's going to help us start with, oh, nice, the low-hanging fruit. So for those quick, medium wins, because if we don't get that, we might be too afraid and say it's too hard. So even if you have never been interviewed before, never, she's going to help us learn a bit more about that, what that's like. And then she's going to share with us what is publicity, and then she'll go through the ABCs of publicity for us. So with this, Larissa, thank you for joining us today. We look forward to hearing your presentation. And at the end, everyone, just so you know, she's going to have something for us, a little offer. You don't want to miss that. So listen all the way through, and here you go. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Bonnie. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, so right off the bat, I want to just clarify exactly what is publicity, because as you were saying, a lot of people aren't really too sure about it. First of all, you don't have to be a Kardashian to get publicity. If you are getting someone, if people are paying you for your expertise, you're an expert. And that means that you have every right to step up and take the spotlight. And we're all on a different point of our journey, right? So it doesn't mean that Kardashians weren't famous. They weren't born famous. They used publicity to get their fame. And we can do the same thing. So what I want you to think about is publicity is kind of like the baseball world, right? You've got the little league, so you get the low-hanging fruit. That's like your local newspaper, your college magazine, alumni magazine, that kind of those quick wins. And then you can go to something a little bit bigger. You go to the minor leagues. And then when you're ready, you can go up to the majors. And that's like the entrepreneurs and the Inc. and the Fast Company. But we're not here to get you on the cover of Forbes today. I'm going to show you some really quick ways that you can start using publicity because it's an important part of your marketing. This is earned media. So the beauty about earned media is that it's free. You're not having to pay anybody. You're not spending money on ads, and it also has way more credibility because it's a neutral third party who is talking about you and how wonderful you are, what a great job that you're doing. So, think about it yourself. If you see an ad for a new restaurant, you're probably going to be like, oh, that's interesting. But if your friend says, oh my gosh, Bonnie, we just had the best Italian meal ever at this new restaurant that opened up, you're going to want to go check it out because you've just had this endorsement for that place by a neutral third party that you trust. That is the exact same thing with podcasts you listen to the magazines that you read, newspapers you read, and your clients are there as well. So without further ado, we're going to jump in to power up your publicity, but that's what I want you to start thinking about. This is earned free media. It's going to boost your credibility. It's going to amplify your audience, and it's going to cement your authority. So this is something that all of us really should be doing every day, even if it only takes 10 minutes. You can start to see the rewards of your labor in about a couple of weeks. So let's dive in. I'm just gonna, let me have to share my screen. Hold on 2 seconds here. Okie dokie, sorry, I'm great with publicity. I'm not so great with the tech. So here we go, okay? So how to power up your publicity for profit. All right, so first of all, who the heck am I? I'm Larissa Banting. I'm accredited in public relations from the Canadian Public Relations Society. That means I took this really big year-long test and only a few hundred of us have actually passed it. I've been the publicist for various films and television programs, companies like Bombay Sapphire Gin, as well as working with municipal governments. I've also been a journalist. I had my own weekly dance column in 2 arts magazines. I'm the author of Costa Rica, The Brad Guide. And I, as a business owner, have been featured in IBM, Reader's Digest, Huffington Post, Martha Stewart Living Radio, and I am the founder of LBPR, my agency, which is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs get seen and heard. So why publicity? And yes, you really do need it. This is earned media. It's free, no cost. We're using think about the newspaper. We're basically using their audience that they've established to tell our story. So that's an amazing, amazing opportunity to engage with a large audience that is interested in hearing about you. If you can't, imagine how much money you would have to spend on ads to reach an audience of that size. You're going to be able to better connect with the audience and make a lasting impact because you can go in depth into your story that you can't with an ad. The customers are going to trust you because the media is seen as having 7 times more credibility than an ad. So, that whole journey of know, like, trust that we have to take our clients on, where they say you need about 8 to 10 touch points before they'll consider saying yes with their wallet. If they already know and trust you and have started to like you because they've seen you in the media, that just shrinks that journey down considerably. Okay, so it's like you can get your clients there faster. It shows your value. Because you can go in depth into your story, because you have these trusted media outlets saying that you are someone of authority and you're someone that they can trust, that brings incredible value to you and your business. And also it's building a positive image. Like being featured on a podcast or on the morning show of your local TV station, that has incredible potential for people to see you as being someone that they want to do business with, because you're going to have a really great positive image of your business and you. So this is where we're going to get into like what we need to think about when we're approaching the media. This is not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. It's pretty darn simple, actually. But you do need to be creative. Like, think about when you are at the checkout of the grocery store and you see all those magazines, they have all those incredible headlines. You will often just pick one up and start reading it or buy it because of the headlines. Well, because you're like, wow, that's really interesting. I want to know more. That's what journalists are looking for. They're looking for those unique angles that are going to make people want to sit up and grab and read. So this is where we just start getting creative. We want something that's going to be unexpected, that grabs attention. And we need something that is newsworthy, right? Like that whole saying about yesterday's news, we don't want to be yesterday's news. We have to find a way to make our business and what we're doing timely, that it fits into what's going on in the world right now. Just like you wouldn't start trying to bring an 8-track cassette tape into your car because everything's now Bluetooth. You're not going to bring a story that might have been topical a year ago into the media now because they're not talking about it. All right. So that means like read, listen, see what's happening around you and start thinking, how can I make my business fit into this narrative? Okay, so we're going to do that by mining your story, because guess what? Your life and your business, it is a gold mine. And we're going to use this to get your first feature. So think about where the nuggets are. What university did you attend? What hobbies are you involved with? Are you involved with any charities? Are you a volunteer with them? Are you like a donor? Are there any challenges that you've overcome in your business or life? And what special skills do you have? Have you won any awards? And what is your business origin story? You might think, oh, nobody wants to hear that, but guess what? It is really interesting. Everyone is interested. How did you get started in this? And your story might be similar to someone who's reading that article. And seeing where you started and where you have ended up now can give them an incredible amount of hope. Like, oh my gosh, if they did it, then I can do it too. And what an incredible gift that is to give somebody. All right, so all these things that we kind of take for granted, these are actual great areas to start getting publicity. Okay, so we're gonna go through that right now. Like, for each area, start thinking of a story. Like, for example, if you're a distance runner, that's your hobby, you could think about a story about the lessons that you've learned from like being a distance runner, like you're hitting that wall. All the runners I used to hit it, you're like, oh, I can't do it any further. I can't go on. And then you find that energy and that you don't know where it comes from to push through and actually finish and cross the finish line. As business owners and consultants, it's the same thing, right? We've all hit that wall somewhere in our career. Well, put that story together, put the 2 and 2 together. How did being a distance runner help you with your business? And, that's a really great angle because it's unexpected and it makes people do a double take. Now, for example, these were real stories in a newspaper. A forensic pathologist who loves to dance ballet, a news presenter who loves bridge construction, and a famous author who beekeeps. Now, these are their hobbies, and they might think, oh, well, nobody wants to read about that. Like, that's not interesting. It is. People are fascinated by what other people are doing. So, think about all of these different publications that you read and that you're interested in. Well, start thinking about how you can get into there because they're looking for stories. All right, so we're going to start thinking about that. We've got these ideas about, we've got all these different parts of my life that I could tell a story and get some publicity. So how do we now take that story idea and get it to the media? That's what we call pitching. And it's a lot easier than you think. Okay, so we've got these ideas. Let's take a hobby of like crocheting. Let's research the publications for your niche stories. There are literally publications and podcasts for every single thing under the face of the earth. Okay, so you've got Crochet World, Crochet Now, Your Crochet and Knitting, Interweave. These are literally all magazines about doing crocheting. So, make a spreadsheet. I suggest a Google sheet and start making note of the outlets. Okay, now we have to know who the journalists are because you can't just write, hey, Crochet Now, I want to do a story about how I've applied my love of crocheting to be able to see the intricacies of running my business. You're not going to pitch that to the person who does patterns, right? Even though they're at Crochet Now, that's not the beat that they cover. You want to find someone who is writing about the people who do crocheting. So that would be the journalist that you're going to approach. So you're going to put their name into the spreadsheet. Then you need to get their emails. So if you're online and you're reading the article, usually if you click their byline, it'll come up, their email address or their contact sheet, or they usually have like their own website. If they're a freelancer, you can use, there's a couple of apps you can use on your Chrome extension browser. One is called hunter.io, or the other is Find That Lead. Either one of those, if you have that in your extension and you click on the website, it'll come up with the email addresses. You also will want to include Twitter because all the media hangs out on Twitter. That's where you want to go and connect with them. And you can also do LinkedIn. They're not as busy on LinkedIn, but definitely Twitter. Do not approach them on Facebook. Do not approach them on Instagram. That is their private life. They don't want to be pitched there. But definitely go to Twitter and start interacting. Don't pitch them on Twitter. But start to retweet them, start to message them back and forth, so they start to get your name into their periphery. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we want to do some research, find out who this writer is, go and read what they've written, find out a little bit more about them. If you've been following them on Twitter, you're going to start seeing a little bit more about their life. Maybe they're really into dogs. That's something that is going to make them more human and make you more human to them. So remember, people love to get complimented, and just like journalists, they're humans doing their job. So if you can show them some appreciation, they're going to love it. You want to align with them, right? Think about the whole idea about these, getting into your university alumni newsletter or getting into a publication from, whatever your hobby is. Those are your people. These are the low-hanging fruit because they're smaller, they're more niche, but you're their people. And we're interested in learning more about our tribe, right? If you're a distance runner, you want to hear about a business person who's a distance runner. If you're an alumni of University of California, then you're going to be interested in hearing about other alumni of the University of California, right? Because that's who we are as humans. We want to connect. So you want to find the same thing with the reporter. Like find something that you both resonate with. Maybe you both love the same sports teams, or maybe you went to the same college. Maybe you just both love gin. You can find these little tidbits, again, by following them on Twitter. You want to have that emotional connection to show that you're both in, if you're both into animal shelters, and hey, I also have rescue dogs, and right away that's going to create that bond, that connection that's going to make you stand out. Reporters are getting 53 to 300 pitches a day. You think your inbox is crazy. So this is why we want to stand out from the crowd. And you want to show that you're human. You want to show that you're seeing what they're doing, you're paying attention, and you both have similar interests. And then you want to make your pitch about you, but you don't want to be cocky. This is where we can do the humble brag to let them know that you're legitimate. So you could do something in a nonchalant way, like, I've dedicated the profits from the sales of my book to building a school in the remote village of Africa. So that shows, hey, I'm legit, I've written a book, it's making money, but I also am a philanthropist. You want to show off, but not in a way that's going to come across as like being like, like you have to toot your own horn here, but do it in a way that, is not going to be like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. And you want to tie it back into something that relates to what they're doing, right? Because ultimately people are interested in what about themselves. So we have to tie it back into that. And finally, ask, right? If you don't ask, no one's going to say yes. What's the worst they could do? They say no, and then you move on, right? So ask for what you want, and you want to make it about their audience, because you're ultimately, the journalist is there to serve their audience. And when you're pitching a story, you're there to serve their audience. So you want to show that you understand this, and they're going to really appreciate that. So something as simple as, do you think your audience would be interested in a story about blah, is all you need, right? You're making it very clear what you want. Here's a sample. Congrats on winning Reporter of the Year, Bob. So you've just, you're calling them out by name, and you're showing that you've done your homework. Hi, Bob. I read your article in last Sunday's Times about the homeless situation in LA, and it really hit the nail on the head for me. I'm in an area of town that has seen a huge surge of homelessness in the past 6 months. The public health crisis you outlined will be hopefully spur our city council to action. So that first paragraph is where we want to create that connection to show that we have been paying attention to what they've been writing about. Or if they're a podcaster, like, talk about someone that was on a recent podcast. Because we want to show we are paying attention. We're not just throwing this to everybody and their dog. And this is where then we give them a little, we give them a little compliment. In fact, I was so impressed by your piece, I looked you up and saw that you won Reporter of the Year. That's huge. Congratulations on your achievement. Okay, now we go in for that bond. I see you're also a fellow lover of rescue dogs. I have 3, and they're the most amazing pets. Nice to see you advocating to adopt, not buy. Now, this is where we get into letting them know that you're serious. I recently published a book, The Importance of Being Honest, about the need for real talk in relationships. I'm donating 10% of the proceeds of this Times bestseller to the LASPCA. Again, tying it back into what interests them. Now this is where the actual pitch idea comes in. My research for the book highlights why citizens need to have open lines of communication with policymakers, just as you noted in your last piece, tying it all back in. Do you think this is something your audience would be interested in? And then you sign it off, put your name, your how to get your phone number, your email, your website, your social media handles, and that's it. This is how you write a pitch. It's not hard. It just has to follow some pretty set standards. Okay, so that's how we're going to go out to the media. Now I'm going to give you a little bonus about how to get media coming to you, which is a nice place to be. This is something called HARO, Help a Reporter Out, and you sign up for it. It's free, and what happens is Monday through Friday, 3 times a day, you're going to have reporters who are looking for experts to interview for their stories come to you. So maybe about 100, sometimes like 100 reporters at a time. Every single email, so that, you have to kind of like go through it quickly, but it takes you maybe 5-10 minutes to go through it, because it's all by different categories. So it's pretty quick, because if you're not in biohealth, then you don't need to really look at the biohealth, or if you're not into sports, you don't have to look at the sports. You can see where your particular area of expertise is, and you can focus on that. Okay, so all the major, we're talking like New York Times, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Good Morning America, the big, like everyone from the big guys to the smaller blogs and podcasts all use this. So it's a really, really great spot to be. Sign up for free there, for free, help a reporter out. You're going to create a boilerplate. So your boilerplate is, 2 or 3 sentences in one paragraph. That is the 5 W's: who you are, what you do, who you serve, how long you've been doing it, and why you're an expert, and also how to get in touch with you. So in my case, for my wedding planning business, my name is Larissa Banting, and I have 15 years experience as a wedding planner, owner of Weddings Costa Rica. So I've just said who I am, why I'm an expert, how to get in touch with me. I've been named one of the top 30 in the world by Destination Weddings and Honeymoons magazine, showing I'm an expert, and I'm the creator of the Lazy Bride blog, another, where they can get in touch with me. I'd be thrilled to help you with your article. Okay, so that is a boilerplate, the 5 W's. And you're going to include this for everything that you put out. So every time that you are responding to these reporters for Haro, you want to include that because they need to know who you are. So this is what it looks like. Like, this is a summary. This one is a story for the Thrillist, the media outlet. The reporter's name is Missy Wilkinson. And very important, you can see there is a deadline. Remember, sometimes these deadlines will be like the same day because reporters are always on deadline. Regardless, stop what you're doing. If you see that this is a story that's good for you, then just stop what you're doing, answer it, and get on with your day, because they can get literally hundreds of responses to their queries. So if you're one of the first ones out of the gate, you have a much better opportunity to get used. All right, so then they have the query. Pretty simple topic. The summary says it all. If you're a medical professional, okay, they're saying that they want a medical professional. Sometimes they will say like they want people with certain qualifications. If you don't have those qualifications, do not waste their time or yours. Don't answer it, okay? And this is not a time to pitch anything else, like just answer the question. So please explain the most common reasons people have problems with low energy and share some solutions. That's it. So they just want that. So you just write them back and give them the answers. Okay, so you want to be quick, make sure that you're a good fit, make sure you fit the requirements that they're looking for, then write the pitch, okay, the answer. Keep it short, to the point. Use the query as a subject line so they know, because sometimes they could be working on more than one story at a time, and they might have sent out a couple of queries to Haro. So if you just write back Haro, they might not necessarily know which story it was for. So just make it easier for them. You want to reframe the question, include your boilerplate, and then upwards of 3 short points that are well written that could be printed as is. This is really important, okay? I'd say about 95% of the time when reporters are using Haro, they won't bother to respond to you. They will just take the best responses they get and literally print them into their story. So this is why you want to make sure you have a really, really well-written points for them, and then include how they can reach out to you and thank them. That's it. So here's an example. Subject line, Haro, how to cut the guest list. Hi, and then put the first name of the reporter. I would put my boilerplate, in reference to your query on how to cut the guest list. I can answer, and I'd put my boilerplate. Include 3 or 4 short sentences in a way that could be used as in the article. All right, so don't put it as a bullet point, put it as a short sentence, like proper grammar, proper spelling, the whole 9 yards. Let me know if you need any more information. I'm happy to speak with you more about, in this case, weddings. So by letting them know that you're open to talking to them about other stories, they might actually call on you, which is, in my case, has happened. I'm now on the Rolodex of a couple of journalists. They come to me saying, hey, I've got the story. Can I get your, some opinion on it that I can use in the media, in the story? So I keep getting these great stories just because I answered a Haro and did a good job of it, and they liked what I did, so they keep coming back to me. So they can do that for you too. Include your name, the title, and your business with a link to the website, your phone number and email. Important, because if they're on deadline, they might want to call you. They need to be able to get in touch with you right away. Twitter handle, LinkedIn. You could have a link to your headshot. Do not send any like attachments though, because they could get thrown into spam. And that's it. So you want to do, like, don't do this. Do not forget to answer the question. Do not send attachments. Do not be salesy. This is not marketing like, hey, buy my stuff. You're there to help them with their story. So answer the question and don't be salesy. Don't be obvious or cliche. They're coming to you looking for expert information. So pull out those tidbits, that information that was from your experience that someone would pay you $1,000 for. Give them the $1,000 tip. Don't give them the obvious thing that everybody and their dog would know. All right. So give them your very best information and the most unique, because remember, they're getting to possibly hundreds of people answering the same query. So if you have something that's really fantastic, that's going to get used. That's what's going to get noticed. And please don't harass a journalist, right? Don't ask them, when is it going to be printed? Don't ask them, are you going to use my story? Just send it and wish it good luck and then move on. If they use it, they might let you know. Usually they don't, because they're on deadline. They get the story in and boom, they're on to the next story. The editors usually don't tell them when it's going to be printed. So my suggestion for you, this is a great tip, go to Google Alerts, put a Google alert on for your name and for your business. And that way, if you do get picked up in the media with Haro, you're going to get noticed through, you're going to get the alert through Google. And I do that for all my clients because, I know, like, they don't tell us when they're going to be published. So you have to use Google Alerts, and that way you'll know. But do this. So you want to be succinct. You want to offer quality information. You want to stay positive, because the media is like a train. There's one coming every few minutes. So don't worry. If they didn't get it on this one, you might get the next train. Okay. It's a long game. This is not overnight success, instant overnight success. We're playing the long game here. If you do get into the media, make sure you share it everywhere on social media, in your blog, on your website, and tag the journalist, because that is going to help them. And it's going to also help whatever the outlet is. So you want to thank them. Just a short little note saying, hey, Bob, thank you so much for including me in this article. I really appreciated it. And I shared it all across my social media channels. It's amazing how much that little, like, thankful, thoughtful moment will go, because far too many people don't take that moment to thank their journalist. And it's going to really make you stand out as a professional and someone that they will want to continue to do business with. All right. So I'm sure you're like, oh my gosh, Larissa, this is like, where do I even begin with all this? This is like crazy. There's so much stuff going on here. So my offer for you today is something called Publicist in a Box. It's not me in a big cardboard box. It's the next best thing though. So what it is I have actually over 600 story ideas in like 14 different niches that you can actually use for your own pitch. So these are story ideas that have been, like, that journalists have asked to do stories about this. So these are stories that are of interest. This is also great if you wanted for your blog. Like, maybe you're like, I don't know what to write about for my blog. This is going to give you over a ton of story ideas. I also do a masterclass and like a tutorial about how to take these ideas and then rework them depending on which media outlet you're going to be pitching to. Because you don't necessarily pitch the exact same way to someone like, say, Cosmopolitan as you would to Oprah magazine, right? Different audience, different style, different voice. So that's what we get into this tutorial. I show you how to write a press kit. I also have my free implementation 5-day challenge. I have email templates in there for you, so you don't even have to write the emails. I have my tutorial about how to use these email templates, and I have the Not So Little Black Book, which is over 1,600 media outlets and how to get in touch with them, as well as our pitching do's and don'ts. Now, I know it sounds like a lot. It's a big value in there, but for today, it's only $141. And you can get it at publicistinAbox.com/publicistinAbox. So that's my presentation, and I hope that it helps you. And this has been some of my students. I've already had 5 features in Haro using Publicist in the box. So yeah, so I hope.
Thank you. That was amazing. And your presentation and then your offer. But we have a little bit more time, so I'm going to pick your brain some more.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have another 15 minutes, so we don't
Oh
want to let
gosh,
that.
I was flying through it because I thought, oh my gosh, like I can talk on forever. So
Yeah, yeah. So let me just ask a couple of questions. I'm going to reach out, just check my chat, make sure I don't see any questions here. But one of the things that really caught my ear was the unexpected like connection between two different like head turning ideas. Can you expand on that? Because I saw a little video clip done by a filmmaker that I love called A Second Look. And it was someone who happened to be very disfigured. And as this person would walk down the street, people would have a second look at him because they couldn't quite believe it. So I wanted you to expand, if you could, on how we can get people's heads to turn for us. Yeah.
okay. Well, I mean, that's the thing. People love the unexpected. For example, I used to work for Alberta Ballet, and we did an article. We had one of our dancers was a really like loved mountain biking. So we got him an interview and a full page color on the back inside cover of the national like biking magazine. And people did a double take at that because they're thinking like, what, a ballet dancer who mountain bikes? Like, aren't they supposed to be like rough and tough and rugged? And it's like, well, yeah, ballet dancers are rough and tough and rugged because it's a really demanding art. So that was a head turner. And it was great because it showed the dancer in a different light. It connected him with all the other bikers. All the other bicyclers were like, okay, well, he's a mountain biker and we're into biking and we're cool. So therefore he must be cool. So I guess ballet must be kind of cool. So maybe we should go check out ballet, you know? So that just opened a whole new world to everyone who saw that article. So those like, it's that, those are those types of connections that make you know, people kind of go, wait, what? So that's why, you know, another idea was I saw there was an article about management lessons from, what was that? Oh my gosh, I just forgot it. That TV show with all the zombies. What was it? There was like it was a big popular show on television.
I actually don't have a TV, so.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Well, I'll do another one. I did a blog post about, you know, what was it? 5 business tips I learned from watching Game of Thrones.
Oh, right? That sounds juicy.
Right. So that's the thing. Like you don't, it's because they're two very, you know, you don't expect someone to be talking about business lessons from a TV show. And so that's that, like, wait, what? So that's what we're looking for. It's and also timely because I wouldn't run a story about that now because Game of Thrones is over. But while things are, you know, while something's hot, you know, like for example, the Tiger King, you know, remember back in like, was it March? Everything was about Tiger King. So you could do a pitch a story about, you know, three things Tiger King taught us about, you know, how to be a successful consultant. And so
you're
yeah,
tossing some really juicy ideas around. So like looking at the different things you teach here, where would that come in? Like teaching that, is that under like a story idea, or where does that, like that, how do you teach that to someone? Or does someone just have to learn it on their own? Or do you teach that part of it to look at the different connections in their brain?
Well, I mean, with the story ideas, like, you know, with the, like, this is kind of like, instead of you having to think about this on your own, that's why I put together, because that's where people, like, they get tripped up. That's like the most difficult thing is figuring out, well, how am I going to frame this? Or what's a great like story angle? So that's why I took this. I've actually I've culled, you know, like a couple of, you know, like thousands of requests from Help a Reporter Out, and distilled it
Mhm.
into these 600 story ideas.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's the thing. So you can go through it, and then in the tutorial, I show how, like I say, these story ideas are like the raw chicken, and then right, like you could cook it and serve it as is, the way it is in the idea kit. But in the tutorial, I show them how to. I give some examples about how you can spice it up, right? Like again, like cosmopolitan. You're probably going to do like, 5 easy ways to lose weight in bed. And, that's like a spicy chicken wings sort of approach to it.
Yes.
But you could take 5 ways to lose weight while running after your toddler would be a great pitch for, like Parents Today magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Same basic story idea, but you just, you flavor it a slightly different way depending on who the media outlet is that you're pitching. Because you wouldn't use the toddler to cosmopolitan or vice versa. Like you got to think about who's your audience.
Sounds
well,
like
who's their audience.
As business people, we're sitting, often working by ourselves. It sounds like you could almost have some friends over and start having a fun afternoon, or someone like yourself, though, hire I'm assuming you do personal coaching of how to really generate those ideas and a lot of them, so that you could do one big idea fest and then have lots and lots and lots of articles afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Because the thing is, like, you don't want to pitch the exact same story angle to the same media, because what happens if, like, the two media like take the exact same story idea that you've pitched
Oops.
them. Yeah. True story. I had that happen once. I was working for a theater, and I had the two competing arts weekly magazines, and they hated each other. And we had this like sold out concert coming with this group called the Medieval Babes, and I'd sent them, the press kit with the slides and whatever. Well, both of them ended up running. They both ended up choosing the exact same set of pictures out of the media kit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, that Thursday morning I woke up and all of their stands for the two competing had the exact same cover, and it was just like I thought that was it. I thought I'm done. Like, that's it. My career is over. Somehow I survived, but I certainly learned to never send out the same set of prints of photos to competing outlets. Same thing with story ideas.
So if you have a budding consultant, they're just starting off and they don't have a lot in their toolkit yet, would you think that doing the publicity like you're teaching, do you think that that's one of the number one things they should do right away, or should they wait until they get more under their wings?
No, because, okay, let me tell you, I'll give you my story real quick. When I moved to Costa Rica in 2002, after I came down here, I was working on a movie in 2001 as a publicist, met one of this very handsome actor who's now my husband. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I left everything behind. And the thing was, like, in 2002, like, we had dial-up internet back then. Like, there was no laptop lifestyle. Facebook didn't exist. So I get down here. I don't speak Spanish at that point. I didn't know the media landscape here. So I was like, I can't do my job because I'm not in Canada. I can't. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I pivoted and I opened a destination wedding planning company because I had just planned my own wedding. I saw all the problems I was running into, and I was in the country. So I was like, well, people need to have someone on the ground to help them. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have money for ads because back then, the only way to get the word out was these glossy magazine ads. So I did PR for myself, and I got into all these magazines with my real weddings. I was like on Martha Stewart Living Radio doing interviews, et cetera, et cetera. So fast forward, in my 4th year of business, Destination Weddings and Honeymoons magazine created the A list of the top 30 in the world. And I was on the list because they perceived me to be one of the top 30. So it doesn't, was I necessarily the top 30? I don't know, but they perceived me to be. So
one quick question. Could you stop that screen share for us?
oh,
That would be
sure.
great. Yeah, there we are. We want to see you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yes. So that's all, it's all about perception. All right. I mean, if you're a consultant, you have expertise, and it doesn't mean that you have to have 20 years of expertise. You take whatever you have now and you start with that, and you find your own story. You find your own voice. So what is it that you bring that nobody else brings? And that's what you focus on. You don't focus because you're not, don't try and start pitting yourself against somebody who has 30 years experience. They have their own story. You focus on what you do. And if you can find what's like, where's that unique you angle, run with that. And that's the fastest way, especially if you're beginning, that is the fastest way to start building up your authority and your credibility. Because, you know, you could, I mean, I could have waited like, you know, years. Like I literally hit my first 7-figure year the year after I was named top 30 in the world.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
So by using the right tools and doing the right things, you can work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
To hit success, whatever that looks like for you. But for a lot of people, it's monetary as well. But to be seen can give you more opportunities everywhere.
Well, yes. I mean, if you, because that's the thing about the media, you're using their audience and you're not having to build that audience. That's the beauty of it, is that you're basically like the reporter or the podcaster is basically a megaphone, and they're using that to expand your message out to everyone that is in their audience. Like, and I imagine how much money you would have to take to reach that audience with ads. Like I was featured in a blog called Hello Giggles a couple of weeks ago. It's Zooey Deschanel, the actress. She has 1.3 million people that read that blog. Yeah. How many ads or how much social media posts would I have to put in to reach 1.3 million people from one article? Got it. That is the power of earned media. And I know everyone's social media, yes, it's great, but with the algorithms, maybe only 2% of your audience is going to see that post on Facebook.
That's a really good point that you just brought up. I know myself is when I post something, you think, well, everybody's going to see it. And the reality check is you just said 2% might see something. So posting several times a day, what do you think about that? Do you think that's just, too much? Or, you know, how
for social media?
Yeah.
I know people who spend 90 minutes a day just posting on social media. Honestly, I think if I would take that, like maybe spend 30 minutes a day on social media and spend the other 60 doing PR. Because you're going to get, it's not just the audience, Bonnie, you've got to think about the SEO. Okay. Right? Because if you're getting into all of these magazines and newspapers and podcasts, they're linking back to your website. So you're getting the power of the backlinks, especially if it's from a publication that has a higher ranking with Alexa for Google than yours. That will then help bump your ranking up with Google. The thing is, like you're on Facebook, you're on these stories on Instagram, they literally disappear after 24 hours. Like boom, gone. None of that helps your SEO.
So I want everyone to stop right now and write this point down. You just have helped everyone be more efficient and can make more money from that one. I mean, it's been an amazing talk. In fact, I was like, I have to listen to it again because there was so much juiciness there. You know, just the apps but I think consistency of purpose of doing it consistently, you trading your hour out of fiddling around with social media. Yes, do it, but using that hour for really using it powerfully. And as you just said, can really bring it back to you. Whereas the others might be lost. All that information you put out there is lost. Poof. Whereas this other, a magazine article or a blog post on someone else's blog post, oh my gosh, it just keeps coming back to you. Sometimes I read blogs, and I'm going to tell you, they're from 2013. I don't care. You know, it's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
the information I need, you know,
Yeah.
right there.
That's it. And like, I still have like people finding me from magazine articles that from like, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, because
Ah,
that's there. The other
mhm.
thing is about when someone goes to, because if we all Google everybody, right? Like we're
Right.
looking to work with someone, we're like, okay, well, what is this person really all about?
Yes.
So if they Google you and they see all of these media outlets where you've been featured, what do you think that says to those clients and customers?
Mhm.
Oh, this is someone who's real. This is someone who is an expert. This is someone who's got their act together. This
Mhm.
is someone who's credible.
Right. Yeah,
And
credibility. That's what you help people do. It sounds like you've nailed it down. You know what you're doing, and you're willing to share your information. And we will have links to what you shared earlier on that slide for everyone on this presentation. And again, we will be online with our information as well. So we so appreciate your time today at Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit. And I know Jacqueline Grant and has brought the most amazing group of people together, and you're one of them. And we appreciate your presentation and sharing your knowledge with all these other wonderful business people, consultings that are, some are just coming on, some are in the middle of their career, and some are even later in their career. But every time we learn some nuggets, it can help us in our business. And we appreciate you for sharing.
oh, well, thank you so much. And yes, if you want to connect with me, I'm the only Larissa Banting in the world. So seriously, small family. But I'm going to put my name, is my website, just my name, larissabanting.com.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And we'll see you out there on our let's see, it's the coolest thing that we have. What is this little thing called? It's our, I'll get it here for us all, our Hoova. Make sure to reach out to Larissa on Hoova.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks
And
so
we'll
much.
be back at the top of the hour. And so take a little quick break, and we'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Well, 13 minutes.